If you have a pulse, you probably hate the subject of taxes and running the bookkeeping portion of your business. But like it or not, if you want to be a successful podcaster, you are going to have to pay attention to your numbers. But don't worry, we have the answer for you, Core Financial. Our friends over at Core Financial have taken the pressure off of us so we can focus on what we love doing most, running our podcast. They take care of all of our taxes, monthly bookkeeping, financial plans, and make sure we take full advantage of all of the tax benefits we qualify for. It just feels good knowing we aren't going to get a big surprise during tax season. If you are serious about building a business with your podcast, head on over to howtomakeapodcast.co/core to see what they can do for you. Hello and welcome to How to Make a Podcast. My name is John Bunn. I'm joined, as always, by the bearded good buddy himself, Nick Miller. Nick, it's kind of our first episode of the year.
Kinda. I mean, last week we did do a mini Happy New Year episode on New Year's Day, but this is our first episode of the year. We're really excited about it. Now we've been recording into 2 years. I mean, we started in 2020. It's 2021. Here we are recording more, but today we wanted to spend some time talking about goals. That seems to be what we all do at the start of a new year. Mm-hmm. And I know in 2020, so many of us had so many goals that didn't come to fruition because it was just 2020. And so this year, as we're starting a new calendar, as we're desperately wanting things to change, right? What are some goals that you can have this year? So we're just really excited to spend the next, 20 minutes or so talking to you about your goals for your podcast.
Yeah, and one of the things we want to make sure is that if you think about like going to the gym in January, it's so busy. There's so many people at the gym. There's so many people excited, but February rolls along and there's like a third as many people. Then like March rolls along and it's back to normal. And so one of the things we want to make sure is that you set yourself up to succeed throughout the entire year. And so we have some points that we want to tell you and talk about when it comes to your podcast, when it comes to your goals. We're going to focus mainly on our podcast goals, not necessarily our personal goals, but they kind of all intertwine. So, so the first thing we want you to do, if you're taking notes or whatever, number one, you're going to write down your goals. There's something about putting them on paper or typing them out that makes them more real. It makes them, it puts them into the existence and the universe. It's like, oh, this is a real thing that I saw. And as time goes by throughout the year, you're going to want to look back at these things. So number one, you're going to want to write down your goals.
Yeah, taking that time to actually write them down because that makes them more real. There is this thing about speaking something into the universe and it happens. And that's not because the universe magically just gifts you this thing or God or whatever because you said it. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's not what we're talking about. But whenever you write something down, it's like now in a way you are more than just subconsciously like trying to achieve this goal. You are more likely to do it because you have taken action with it. Mm-hmm. And so we want you to, number one, write down your goals, speak it into existence. So that's the first thing. And we're going to kind of break down, what we're thinking about when it comes to what those goals should look like and how to accomplish that sort of stuff in a little bit. But number one is write down your goals. And then the next thing that we want you to do is really speak it into existence by talking with someone about that. Okay. I think that so many people are scared to let other people know their goals because they are so afraid of failure. Mm-hmm. Right? Would you agree with that? We're scared that it's not going to happen. And so we end up not doing anything. But again, you write down your goals. That is step one in accomplishing them. And then step two in actually accomplishing your goals, it's letting someone know what they are. And John, I want you to talk a second about what your goals, how should your goals that you write down make you feel?
Most of them should actually scare you. When I'm thinking about our goals for how to make a podcast, last year in 6 months, we had 11,000 downloads, and I'm thinking, tangible, real goals. So what if we get to 50,000 downloads this year? Like, whoa, okay, that kind of scares me. Like, if I don't get it, did I fail? But at the same time, I'm like, no, that's probably a really solid goal for us is 50,000 downloads, because we had 11,000 in the first 6 months. If we doubled that, it's 22,000. And so like we're like that's close, but at the same time, it's out there. It's a little bit scary. And so, we write down that goal. We tell somebody, Nick and I being in each other's world, we can tell each other our goals. If you have a co-host, you can tell your co-host, you can talk to other podcasters. But saying those goals out loud after you've written them, putting some thought into it. Most people just don't even put thought into it, but you've written them down, you say them out loud to somebody, and then who can keep you accountable? Who can you be accountable with? I obviously have you and Blake, our editor, to stay accountable to these goals. And we recommend you write down and do these goals for not just your podcast, but the thing that changed whenever I was working out with someone was I had accountability with a trainer. Like, you're in really good shape. You have a trainer, you have accountability. You've told people, you've said it on the podcast, I'm getting in the best shape of my life by the time I turn 40. Like, these things are things that keep you accountable. And by keeping them in front of you, writing them down, making them easy to see, letting other people know about them, and then having someone keep you accountable to them, can you imagine what you're going to be like in 12 months if you do this?
Yeah, absolutely. There was this, and I've shared this on our other podcast, but there's this study that was done in an Ivy League school or something. And all these graduating seniors, the professor said, okay, I want you to write down where you want to be in 10 years. Where is that you want to be? And then they revisited those people in 10 years. The people that wrote down their goals once and never looked at them again were at where they wanted to be or not where they wanted to be. Like, they definitely weren't ahead. The people that wrote them down and reviewed them often were where they wanted to be, or maybe a year or two where they should be. There was a small percentage of people that wrote down those goals and they reviewed them daily or weekly, very often, and they had them on their wall. They could look at them. They were on average 5 years ahead of where they should have been professionally. So they were at year 15 at year 10 because they had those goals and they were reviewing them. There is power in writing down your goals, speaking them out, having an accountability, and reviewing them often. And so those are the things that we believe that as you are looking at your podcast for this year and the goals that you have, those are some definable action steps that you can take.
One of the things I did a few years ago is I just purchased a whiteboard, like a marker board, and I have it hanging up behind my camera in my office where I'm looking at my camera, but behind it, I have all of my goals, and I have all of the different categories of the numbers of things that I want to hit, but I also have little quotes or things or like things I want to actually happen, make this much money or have this many trips or do this much or whatever it is. And I write those out and make them clean. I actually have 2 whiteboards now with the goals that I have on them, but having them written down in my wedding film business, I wanted 15 weddings last year, and I could every month update that board kind of with columns saying, okay, I have 12 weddings. I have 13 weddings. I'm almost to my goal. And by keeping that out in front of me, guess how many weddings I did? I did 15 weddings and I shot those, and I was able to stay on track with those goals. So after, looking at 2020, what was behind us, you can kind of just stay in that zone if you want to. You can stay on your couch. You can Netflix and chill. You can, chill out on TikTok. Or you can be different than you were last year. You can write out your goals. You can make them plain. You can make them easy to read. You can say them out loud to somebody, and then you can stay accountable. After the break, we're going to get back. We're going to talk about how to write these goals, what you should be doing with your goals, and then ways for you to look at your year so you can stay accountable throughout the year. So we're going to do all that right after this break.
We can't tell you how frustrating it was for us to upload our podcast when we first got started. The websites were clunky, we had data limits, and it was all so confusing. That is, until we found Zencast. Zencast is an online platform built for podcasters to not only upload their podcasts, track their listeners, connect their audience, and so much more. Zencast plans have no upload or download limits, so your cost won't grow as you do. Embed their player that automatically updates to show the latest episode of your show. Zencast lets you see your podcast downloads along with your traffic, website, and Google Analytics. Zencast also supports multiple podcasts under one account. The best part is, if you already have a podcast on another platform, you can switch to Zencast with a one-click importer, all free of charge. So what are you waiting for? Head over to howtomakeapodcast.co/Zencast to start saving time and money with your podcast today. So you've got everything you need for your podcast. You've recorded your audio and video. You're so excited. But wait, you don't know how to master the audio or edit the video of your podcast. We know someone who can help. The Podcast Editors. Picture this. You record both audio and video for your podcast. You upload it to your remote editor, and a few days later, your podcast is ready for you to upload and push to the world. What will you do with your extra time? Connect with sponsors? Grow your Facebook group? Start that project or even course you have dreamed of for months? The possibilities are endless. We are blown away by the Podcast Editors and love working with them and using their services. They can edit audio, video, or both for your podcast. Don't get stuck trying to do this on your own. Get in touch with the Podcast Editors today. If you'd like to save 50% off of your first project, head over to howtomakeapodcast.co/thepodcasteditors.
All right, we are back from our break. We are talking all about goals. It's 2021. 2020 is in the rearview mirror. We're talking about setting goals. We just talked about writing them down, saying them out loud, keeping yourself accountable. I want to start this segment out, Nick, with our question of the day presented by Zencast. Zencast is the platform of choice that we use to upload and host our podcast. If you go to howtomakeapodcast.co/Zencast, you can check out all that they do. Nick, the question of the day.
Yes, I want to hear it.
What kind of goals should you set?
Okay. What kind of goals should you set? So our thought, our opinion in this is that you need to kind of have 3 levels of goals that you should be setting and thinking about all the time. Okay. So you should have your big overarching goals. This is like in the year, I want to accomplish this. This is what I want to happen in 2021. Then you should also have like your monthly goals. So here are the things that I am working on each month to achieve my yearly goal. And then you should have your daily goals or your daily tasks that pour into your monthly goal, which then pour into your big yearly goal. The thing with goals and life and trying to accomplish anything is that big wins don't happen drastically. Okay. I have said that I want to be in the best shape of my life by 40. I can't eat well one day, go to the gym one day, and then the next day wake up 20 pounds lighter with 6 packs. Like it just doesn't happen that way. You have to set your goal and then you have to work at it every single day, every single week, every month to achieve that goal. And yes, it's a big commitment to follow through with your goals. But how is that going to make you feel as a person? How is it going to make your business look? All of those kind of things. How is that going to make you feel whenever you succeed in those goals? So you need to do stuff. It isn't just going to happen overnight. Very, very few people launch something and then it blows up overnight. Like those are the exceptions. They are not the rule. For every one of those that you see, there are 10,000 that did not happen that way. So you need to put in the work and you need to put in the time.
Yeah, what you said about big goals don't happen drastically. I think about the success of my wedding video company or how to film weddings or now how to make a podcast. And I wish hard sometimes that like I just blew up on Instagram and like I had 1 million followers and life was easy, and that hasn't happened for me. But I'm very successful. I have a proven strategy on how to be successful, and it's because I set attainable goals and I continue every day, with my yearly, monthly, and daily goals like you're talking about. And I'm not perfect. We mess up. We waste time. We procrastinate. We play too many video games, all the things. But at the end of the day, like for you and your business, you and your podcast, if you don't set up any kind of goals, you're not going to know whether or not you're winning. You're not going to know whether or not you're heading in the right direction. And so by having these written out and having them ready for you, like you do see changes. And it's interesting. You look back down the mountain every now and then, like we did with our year-end episode. It's like, oh, wow, we've done a lot. Like it doesn't feel like it in the moment. If you're going to the gym and you're working out hard, the first few weeks kind of suck.
Yep.
You're getting used to your eating. You're getting used to the workout. Your body's sore. You have headaches. You're just detoxing from so much sugar, whatever it is. Then somewhere it's just like, oh, that workout wasn't as bad. And then it's like, oh, that workout wasn't bad. That actually wasn't bad at all. That was kind of a good workout. Oh, I feel good about it. I got a new bench press max. Oh, okay. But it like that takes, sometimes 3-4 months of consistency in the gym. And that is exactly how your business works. That's exactly how your podcast works. You can't just go to the gym once a week and expect results. You can't just have a podcast once every 3 months and expect results. And so the main purpose of all this is to help you be consistent, because over time things start to change. You didn't even realize they were happening.
Yeah. So here's let's just use this as an example. As your yearly goal, let's say that you want to land a sponsor and make $1,000 from that sponsor. Like that's your yearly goal. I want to, and not $1,000. Like I want to sign a contract where they owe me $1,000. Let's say that's your goal. So the problem that so many people have when it comes to setting goals is they set this goal that's awesome, that's lofty, that scares you. But hope is not a strategy. Okay. You can't just hope that you are going to land $1,000 sponsor if you don't follow up with that. So with that one, so now let's go into our monthly. Okay. So we have our year goal of having $1,000 booking of a sponsor. So now monthly, what do I need to do in January so that I can obtain that? Okay. Maybe you need to figure out a consistent uploading schedule. Like being very, very consistent, saying every Thursday at noon, I am uploading a new episode, and you just need to be consistent with that. That is goal number one. You need to kind of map out and chart, okay, I want to hire, I want to get a sponsor. So what do I need to do that, and kind of reverse engineer it? And then whenever you kind of break it down from your monthly goal is, okay, Thursdays at noon, I need to have a new episode. What are you doing daily? And I know podcasting isn't necessarily something that you are doing every single day. Okay, we get that. For most of you out there, this is not your full-time job. But what are the things that you can do either daily or weekly that will help you achieve that goal? Is it going to be figuring out exactly my microphone setup, my room setup, figuring out the type of platform that I need to be editing on, where I should be uploading my stuff? Maybe right now, all I am doing is uploading it to a service like, I don't know, Anchor, but you're not connected your podcast to Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and Amazon and all these other places. So only a small percentage of people are finding it. Maybe those are the things that you need to do so that you can try to get your numbers up. So that's a very practical example of have your big goal, then your monthly goal, and then your daily tasks, your daily goals to feed into those things so that you can reach that goal of having that sponsor.
I think so many people get up in the morning, they check their emails, they let that kind of dictate their schedule, and they don't really know where to go or what to go to. And by having your yearly goal set up, that helps you determine, like you said, your monthly goals. Your monthly goals help your daily goals, and your daily goals help your hourly goals, And so, for us, I remember with How to Film Weddings, we wanted to grow our community, and we wanted to grow our Facebook and our Instagram. And I would go on for about 10 minutes every day. Like one of our goals was, to hit a certain number of Instagram followers. And I would go through and just put in the work, like put in 10 minutes of time, search hashtag wedding videography, and go in and like and comment and add value to 10 to 20 different people to their posts. And what would happen is maybe there would be some people interact, but every week we would add 5 or 10 new people that followed our Instagram page. And what did that do over time? We started to have thousands of followers. And when we would post, hey, we have a new episode, it helped us show up to more people, and they found our Facebook group, and they, joined our community, and some of them bought our course. And, that made it to where more people were downloading episodes, which made it easy for sponsors to see, oh, wow, there's, 17,000 downloads this month of that podcast. That's pretty awesome if I want to sell something to a wedding videographer. And we were very, very intentional. We didn't do as great of a job about writing our yearly, monthly, daily. Like, we didn't kill it with that. But we did have our North Star. We had our goals set in front of us. And every day we put in a lot of work to push us towards where we knew we wanted to go. You might not have an exact goal. Like, we wanted to elevate the wedding industry. And that's like our mission. And so like everything needed to point towards that. And some days we worked on things that we shouldn't have, or like that we thought were going to help us. And so you have to look at it as a net score sometimes. It's like, if all you do over and over, is you dig and you dig, if you dig 100 times, maybe the 100th thing you do is what adds an extra 500 people listening to your podcast or whatever. But you don't know that until you get going.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been our episode all about goals and writing them out. And, hopefully if you follow through with some of this, you will see some big success, some big changes in your podcast. But as, we talked about in our year-end review, when it comes to goals and that sort of thing, the only person that you can really judge yourself against is yourself. And, John was talking earlier about having the goal of 50,000 downloads of How to Make a Podcast. If the end of the year comes and let's say we only got 40,000, like, you can look at it two ways. Do I get upset that I didn't reach my goal? Or do I say, hey, because I put in the work, look what happened. And I grew this much. So again, it's a mindset thing. So if you set your mind to accomplishing these goals and doing these things, some really big things can happen. And maybe your goal is too lofty and it's too big. But remember what I said about those people 10 years later were like where they should have been in 15 years, and they were there ahead of time. If you keep at it and you keep digging and you keep marching and you keep those goals in front of you, some really, really big things can happen.
It's very true. I'm really excited that, at the beginning of the year, I'm really excited for the people that are out here listening to make it through January and still be pushing towards their goals, and make it through February. And you may have to readjust some of those goals, but if you don't at least write these out and keep yourself accountable to them, nothing is going to change. So I would charge you with this. Put in your calendar on the first day of April, the first day of June, the first day of October, to just check back in with your goals, quarterly goals, or 3 or 4 times this year, but put them physically on your calendar and just go into the calendar app on your phone or whatever right now and say, the first of whatever day of that month, check in on your goals. Keep that in front of you. Write them out on Post-it notes. Put them on your mirror. Make them easy to see. Make it obvious for yourself to continually tell yourself what you're going to do and why you're going to do it, because we're motivated right now. It's the beginning of the year. But where are you going to be on April 13th?
Yep.
Where are you going to be on July 7th?
Yep.
So think about those things, and we are so excited for you and your business. Again, if you ever need anything from us, we're all about our Facebook group and we're all about our Instagram. Just follow us at How to Make a Podcast on Instagram and join our Facebook group. Slide into our DMs, ask us questions, whatever you want to do. Nick, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you.
Great day, great episode. And I guess until next time, we'll see you.
See ya.